Wake up, rise up, Mell, be on the line. News, weather, truth, she delivers on time. Affirm your power, let the doubt unwind. Kickstart your soul, let your purpose shine. She don't just talk, she spark the flame from 7 to 8. She runs the game, Jamaica to New Orleans and all the world. The vibe don't sleep. Mell B drop gems while the world counts sheep. No fluff, no cap, just facts and fire. Affirmation flow that lifts you higher. Wake up, rise up, Mell B on the line. News, weather, truth, she delivers on time.
Well, grand rising, all my beautiful people. I have missed y'all over the past couple of weeks, and we are back here getting ready to start our week. Give me one moment. I'm having technical difficulties over here. All right. It's Monday, January 26th, and we are officially in the home stretch of the month. A lot of you are waiting for a green light to start the projects or chase them dreams, but here is the truth. The light is already green. You are the engine and the driver. So strip off that suit and let's get to work. It's Monday. All right, on to our affirmation of the day is, and I read, I walk into this week with the authority of a conqueror. Every door I've knocked on is already opening, and every seed I plant today will bear fruit because my harvest is guaranteed. Grand Rising, Ray. All right, and our word of the day is echelon, meaning a level or rank in an organization, a profession, or a society. So don't settle for a baseline. Aim for the upper echelon in everything you do today. All right. Our urban slang phrase of the day is standing on business. Yep, I said business. It means taking care of your responsibilities, following through on your word, and handling your affairs with seriousness and integrity. So it's rooted in the AAVE, which is the African American Vernacular English. This phrase has been used in Black communities for decades to describe someone's reliability. It saw a massive mainstream explosion in late 2023 and 2024 through hip hop culture and social media. All right, on to our news. Our U.S. national headline news is the immigration crackdown sparks moral debate. Federal and state officials are clashing over the moral high ground following a controversial shooting involving immigration enforcement agents during a recent crackdown. Also, we have congressional funding face off. House and Senate Democrats have officially vowed to oppose the latest Homeland Security funding bill, citing concerns over the administration's aggressive enforcement tactics. And national concealed carry scrutiny. A high-profile incident involving a licensed firearm owner has reignited a national conversation regarding the rights of concealed carry permit holders during interactions with the federal law enforcement. All right, on to our favorite city news headlines. First up, we got New York. New York City's educational leaders are highlighting a new initiatives to integrate African diaspora history more deeply into the public school curriculum this semester. You can give them their flowers. Grandchester, New York. New York City's community event today will be the weekly Monday night jams at NAMA at 107 West 130th Street. It's a celebration of music of the African diaspora featuring jazz, blues, and Afro-Caribbean rhythms in Harlem. Los Angeles. LA City officials are expanding community-based mental health programs, shifting focus toward neighborhood wellness initiatives to combat urban isolation. LA's community event of the day is the Neighborhood Sing, Little Tokyo Branch Library, a music workshop led by the Urban Voices Project, aimed at improving mental health through song and expression. Chicago. The Chicago Public Library System is launching a new social spaces campaign to revitalize local branches as tech-free community hubs for adults. Chicago's community event of the day is the Adult Game Night. It's going to be held at 1000 East 73rd Street, an evening for adults to engage in board games like Scrabble and Jenga to foster local social connections. Atlanta. Area nonprofits are reporting a surge in sustainable service programs that repurpose plastic waste to create essential items for the city's unhoused population. Atlanta's community event of the day is the Community Service Social Mercy Mats in Marietta, a social gathering where participants learn to crochet mats for the homeless using recycled plastic grocery bags. That's interesting. Houston's Ion District is continuing its push to become a global hub for energy and climate tech startups, hosting a series of innovation showcases this week. Houston's community event is H-Town Roundup Innovation Session, the ION, a community-centric event showcasing local entrepreneur themes and climate technology. Washington, D.C. The Capitol is bracing for a week of heavy legislative debate as the administration faces intense questioning over recent Department of Homeland Security actions. DC's community event of the day is the National Mall Historical Walk. Local historians are leading guided tours today focused on the evolution of civil rights legislation in the district. Miami is seeing a January reset trend with city-funded philanthropic galas and orchestrative events focusing on the preservation of Art Deco history. Miami's community event of the day is Art Deco History Orchestral Moment, a spiritually enriched musical performance held at various historic venues across Miami Beach. Tampa. The city is officially entering Gasparilla season, with local business leaders projecting record-breaking tourism revenue for the upcoming pirate-themed festivals. Tampa's community event today is the Children's Gasparilla Prep, community workshops held at local centers to prepare for the upcoming signature parade and family festivities. Newport Richey. Good morning, Dad. Following the regional Gasparilla trend, Newport Richey is focusing on family-safe swashbuckling traditions and local historical preservation. Swashbuckling. Dad, you got to tell me what that is. Community events. The main community event in Newport Richey today is the Gasparilla Pirate Fest preparations, a series of community meetings and float building workshops ahead of the regional festival. Milwaukee. Good morning, family. I know y'all cold as I am. The University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee is leading a citywide conversation on the role of African iconography, that's a word, in modern activist art. Milwaukee's community event today is the Rebellious Stripes exposition at the E.H. Mathis Art Gallery, an exposition featuring the American flag in artistic art from 1960 to the present. All right, Vancouver. Academic leaders in Vancouver are hosting forums to define human intelligence and its necessity in an increasingly AI-driven workforce. Vancouver's community event of the day is the Practical Human Intelligence in the Age of AI at the Vancouver campus of FDU, a lecture and discussion on human problem solving and communication. Toronto is hosting a major diplomatic forum this week focusing on the geopolitical relationship between the Caribbean region and South America. Their community event today is the Community Forum on Venezuela, A Caribbean Perspective at the William Dew Auditorium, a public forum discussing regional impacts and migration. Bless up, Jamaica. I'm so jealous of y'all weather right now. Kingston is preparing for a massive economic boost as Carnival in Jamaica 2026 registrations reach peak numbers this week. Kingston's community event today is Jamaica Carnival Prep Session, a vibrant costume reveals and music rehearsals taking place through the city streets today. Montego Bay. The hospitality sector in Montego Bay is highlighting cultural dance and a primary driver for luxury tourism this season. Montego Bay's event of the day is the Konzumba Experience, Irie edition at the Waves Rose Hall. It's the final day of a major international Afro-Luso dance festival. What is going on over here? Okay, Ocho Rios. Ocho Rios is seeing a surge in reggae tourism, with officials focusing on the intersection of live music and local artisanal crafts. Okay. Community event there today is the Rebel Salute Craft and Art Showcase, a local gathering featuring reggae royalty, traditional food, and Jamaican arts. Negril. Major resort partnerships are launching new Experience Jamaica sweepstakes to drive international travel to the island's West End. The community event in Negril today is Big Beaches Getaway 2026 kickoff at the Beaches Negril Resort. It's a launch of a major travel and tourism campaign for the region. Cayman Islands. The islands are celebrating National Heroes Day today, honoring residents who have made significant contributions to the nation's heritage. Cayman Islands community event is the National Heroes Day Award ceremony in Georgetown. A formal ceremony is at 9 a.m., followed by public festivities at 4 p.m. today. Nassau. Nassau's Baha Mar district is becoming a central hub for international live and learn conferences, blending business networking with paradise tourism. Their event today is the AIN Group Live and Learn Conference, a major gathering featuring expert-led workshops and product showcases. Nigeria. The Sokoto government has announced new laws to curb pre-wedding extravagance to promote fiscal responsibility among the youth. Nigeria's community event is the Ubasani Bus Terminal Development Project, a public representation of the construction of the largest bus terminal in Nigeria. And Ghana. Ghanaian educational leaders are collaborating with international partners to build global change agents in the manufacturing and packaging sectors. Ghana's community event today is Child Development in African Contexts, a community info meeting discussing potential solutions for supporting children and families in Ghana. All right, on to this weather forecast all over the world. I just want to say, point blank, it's cold here. It's just cold. All right, starting with New York, we have heavy snow and bitter cold, high of 20 and a low of 11. Los Angeles, sunny and mild with a high of 71 and a low of 48. Chicago, sunny but dangerously cold with a high of 15 and a low of 3. Atlanta, winter storm impacts with heavy ice and snow with a high of 28 and a low of 18. Texas, hard freeze warning with a chance of sleet with a high of 38 and a low of 19. Man, Houston, jeez. DC, partly sunny and freezing with a high of 25 and a low of 11. Miami, mostly sunny and pleasant with a high of 85 and a low of 56. Tampa, sunny and clear with a high of 70 and a low of 38. Newport Richey, sunny with morning rain chances with a high of 66 and a low of 40. Milwaukee, sunny with evening snow showers, again with a high of 13 and a low of -1. Vancouver, cool and cloudy with light winds with a high of 41 and a low of 34. Toronto, light snow and windy with a high of 17 and a low of 7. Kingston, light rain in the morning with a high of 85 and a low of 71. Montego Bay, Sunny with a chance of night showers with a high of 84 and a low of 76. Ocho Rios, sunny and clear with a high of 84 and a low of 75. And Negril, light rain and warm with a high of 87 and a low of 78. Cayman Islands, sunny and clear with a high of 84 and a low of 77. And Nassau, Bahamas, have scattered thunderstorms with a high of 78 and a low of 71. Nigeria, very high heat and humidity with a high of 91 and a low of 64. And Ghana, intense sun and high humidity with a high of 90 and a low of 73. I'll take either one of those right now. All right. Good morning, Grand Rising. On to our sports. In the NFL, the Super Bowl 60 matchup is officially set. We're heading for a showdown between the New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks. So in the AFC is where the Patriots won the AFC and the Seahawks won the NFC. So the path to Super Bowl 60 is, like I said, the Patriots and the Seahawks. And the Super Bowl is actually going to be held Sunday, February 8th on Fox. All right, on to the NBA. In the NBA yesterday, the scores are, as I read, the Clippers over the Nets, 126-89. The Warriors over the Timberwolves, 111-85. The Pelicans over the Spurs, 104-95. The Pistons over the Kings, 139-116. The Raptors over the Thunder, 103-101. And the Heat over the Suns, 111-102. And unfortunately, due to the weather yesterday, the Nuggets and the Grizzlies and the Mavericks and Bucks games were postponed. So today we have the Magic and the Cavaliers play at 7 p.m. and those games will be showed on Bally Sports Local and the NBA League Pass. We also have the 76ers and the Hornets will also be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They will be on Bally Sports as well, and also NBC Sports in Philly. The Pacers and the Hawks will be at 7:30 on Bally Sports. We have the Trailblazers and the Celtics will be at 8 p.m. On Peacock. And then we have the Lakers and the Bulls will be at 8 p.m. They are going to be on Spectrum Sportsnet and NBC Sports Chicago and NBA League Pass. We also have the Grizzlies and the Rockets will be at 8 p.m. They will be on Bally Sports and Space City Home Network. The Warriors and the Timberwolves will be at 9:30 on NBC Sports Bay Area, Bay Sports North, and NBA League Pass. All right, on to our JPL, which is the Jamaican Premier League. They are in round 20. Yesterday's games, we had Waterhouse over Mount Pleasant, 1-0. We had Montego Bay United to Chapelton Maroons, 2-0. We had Dunby Holden over Harborview, 4-2. Tivoli Gardens over Cavalier, 2-1. Racing United over Portmore United, 1-1. It was a tie, I guess. We had Treasure Beach and Arnett Gardens tied at 1, and also Moline United and Spacetown Police tied at 1. Today, there are no JPL League games following the 20-round action yesterday, so the league is taking a break today. So the next set of matches, including several rescheduled makeup games, will be set for Wednesday, the 28th. All right, on to our daily feature, which is Motivational Monday. And this is kind of a topic that my sister brought to me, put in my head kind of yesterday. And I thought maybe, okay, well, let's look this up and see what this actually means. So it's it's called the power of the third way. So we often hear the term third world. And we think of struggle, we think of being less than or being at the bottom of the list. But did you know that when that term was created in 1952, it wasn't about money, it was about sovereignty. So back in the day, the first world, quote unquote, first world, was considered the West, the United States, Western Europe, and their allies, capitalist and democratic bloc. And then there is the second world, which was the Soviet Union bloc, which included the Soviet Union, China, and their allies, communist socialist bloc. They were locked in a Cold War, and they wanted everyone to pick a side. But a group of nations stood up and said, we are the third world, non-aligned nations. They were saying that they were in third place. They were saying, we refuse to be defined by your struggle. We are choosing a third way, our way. So Alfred Sauvy, the man who coined the phrase, compared it to the third estate in the French Revolution, which were the clergy, the nobility, and the third estate, or the commoners. Sauvy famously wrote, this third world, ignored, exploited, and scorned like the third estate, also wants something. He saw these nations not as lesser, but as a, burgeoning force of people who had been colonized or ignored by the great powers, and were finally finding their own voice. So how the meaning got shifted? Because many of the non-aligned nations in the 1950s were former colonies of Africa, Asia, and Latin America, struggling with infrastructure and poverty. The term slowly drifted from the political definition to an economic one. By the time the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, the second world essentially vanished. Without the second world to compare them to, the public began using third world as a synonym for poor and or underdeveloped. So why it's outdated in 2026? In a modern professional and academic circles, the term is considered outdated or even offensive because it implies a hierarchy. The one world is the first or better than another. Today, you'll hear more precise terms like developing nations or global south or LMIC, which is low to middle income countries. So Monday is the day where the world tries to force you into a box. Society wants you to pick a side, follow their script, or accept a label that says you're underdeveloped. But your motivation today is be the third way. Don't let someone else's Cold War, their drama, their competition, their chaos dictate your position. Just because you aren't playing their game doesn't mean you're not winning. You aren't in third place. You're in a category all of your own. So define yourself, build your own infrastructure, and remember the third world wasn't a ranking, it was a revolution. Hey, yeah, right. So we kind of got a little bit more understanding of that. All right, on to our book club. We are still reading The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter Woodson. We are on chapter 11, and the chapter reads, The Need for Service Rather Than Leadership. So in this chapter, Woodson challenges the obsession with leadership in the Black community, especially the idea that leadership means holding titles, positions, or prestige. He urges that true progress doesn't come from people who want to be leaders, but from people who want to serve. He makes a clear distinction. Leadership rooted in ego destroys. Leadership rooted in service transforms. So to summarize, Woodson argues that miseducation has created a class of Black people who chase leadership roles for status rather than impact. These individuals want to be seen, praised, and elevated, but they don't want to do the work that actually uplifts the community. He explains that this mindset was intentionally cultivated by the educational system. Schools train Black students to imitate white leadership models, being in a hierarchy environment, elitist, and disconnected from the masses. As a result, many leaders became gatekeepers instead of liberators. Woodson insisted that the community doesn't need more figureheads. It needs people who will teach, build, organize, support, solve problems, and strengthen institutions. He emphasizes that the service is the highest form of leadership, and the most effective leaders are often the ones who never speak or even seek in the spotlight. So, how to apply this to your life? This chapter is a mirror, a challenge. Woodson invites you to examine your motives. Are you chasing titles or are you chasing transformation? So today, lead from where you are. You don't need a position to make an impact. Influence begins with action, not authority. Second, focus on service, not status. Ask, who am I helping? Who benefits from my work? If the answer is me, it's time to make a shift. And third, build community, not hierarchy. Collaboration is more powerful than control. Empower others, share knowledge, and open doors. And let your work speak louder than your title. Woodson believed that the most effective leaders are often invisible because they're too busy serving to worry about being seen. All right, on to our cause of the day. It is National Glaucoma Awareness Month. So what is it? A group of eye diseases that damage the optic nerve, the cable which carries images from your eye to your brain. It is often called the silent thief of sight because it usually has no symptoms in the early stages. This is a major health equity issue. African Americans are up to 4 times more likely to develop glaucoma than non-Hispanic white people, and are 6 times more likely to suffer permanent blindness from it. Even more alarming, Black Americans tend to develop glaucoma after about 10 years earlier than other groups, often in their 40s. So symptoms, in the beginning, there are none. As it progresses, you may notice patchy blind spots in your side or your peripheral vision. In late stages, it feels like tunnel vision. So prevention and treatment, you cannot feel the high eye pressure that causes glaucoma. The only way to catch it is through a dilated eye exam. While there is no cure yet, early treatment with prescription eye drops and laser surgery can stop the vision from getting worse. So for more research, resources on glaucoma, first of all, of course, talk to your eye doctor, the ophthalmologist. And also you can do research online through the National Eye Institute, which is ENEI, and the Glaucoma Research Foundation. So if you're over 40 or have a family history of vision loss, don't wait for your vision to get blurry. Go get your eyes dilated this month. Protect your vision so you can keep seeing the world around you. All right. Today in history, January 26th. First up, India becomes a republic in 1950. 3 years after gaining independence, India officially adopted its constitution, transitioning from a British dominion to a sovereign republic. This turned the pages from colonial rule to self-governance for nearly a sixth of the world's population. Second, the Queen of the Skies, Bessie Coleman's birthday in 1892. Born in Atlanta, Texas, Brave Bessie grew up to become the first African-American woman and first Native American to hold an international pilot's license. Since no American flight school would take her, she learned French and moved to France to earn her wings. I know that's right. And up third, Michigan joins the Union in 1837. Michigan was officially admitted as the 26th U.S. state. Known as the Great Lakes State, its entry was a major milestone in the expansion of the American Midwest. All right, on to African American history. Today, like I mentioned before, is Bessie Coleman's birthday. Born into a sharecropping family, Brave Bessie refused to let the ground hold her back. Since American flight schools wouldn't admit Black women, she would learn French and move to France to earn her pilot's license. She became the first African American woman to hold an international pilot's license, proving that if the door is closed, you find a different continent and open a new window. Up next, we got the 54th Massachusetts Infantry of 1863. On this day, the U.S. Secretary of War authorized a formation of the 54th Massachusetts Voluntary Infantry. This was the first military unit in the Union to consist of all Black soldiers. Their bravery, especially during the assault on Fort Wagner, changed the public's perception and paved the way for more than 180,000 Black men to serve in the Civil War. And last, we have the birth of Angela Davis in 1944. A scholar, philosopher, and activist, Davis became a symbol of the struggle for racial and gender justice. Born in Birmingham, Alabama, her life's work was centered on prison reforms and civil rights, challenging the world to no longer accept the things I cannot change, but change the things I cannot accept. And on to our scientists and inventors. First up, we have Dr. Valerie Thomas. In 1980, she received a patent for the illusion transmitter. This technology uses parabolic mirrors to transmit three-dimensional real-time images. It laid the foundation groundwork for NASA's satellite image processing and 3D imaging used in modern surgery and television today. Number two, we got Elijah McCoy, known for the automatic lubricator in 1872. Before his invention, trains had to stop every few miles to be oiled by hand. His device allowed engines to self-lubricate while in motion. It was so reliable that engineers would refuse to buy a train unless it had the real McCoy installed, coining the famous phrase for authenticity. All right, and last up, we have Dr. James E. West. He was an acoustician, a specialist or scientist who studies acoustics, the science of sound and vibration. He invented the coil electret microphone in 1962. Unlike previous microphones that required large power supplies, his was small and highly sensitive. Today, 90% of all microphones, including those in your cell phone and laptop or a professional mic, use his technology. All right, on to our Back to Roots, and we are in the week of empires and civilizations. So this segment is where we take the moment to reconnect with who we are, where we come from, and the powerful legacy that shaped African American culture long before we touched American soil. Every day we shine a light on languages, traditions, spiritual systems, kingdoms, and cultural practices of Africa in this segment. The pieces of our identity that history tried to bury, but our spirit never forgot. From the Yoruba and Akon, to the Dinka, Zulu, and ancient wisdoms of Kemet. We explore the roots that still show up in our music, our food, our faith, our family structure, and our everyday rhythm. So Back to Roots is about education, elevation, and restoration, giving us the knowledge to understand our past, the pride to stand in our present, and the power to shape our future. This is where African American culture begins and where we reclaim the story for ourselves. So for today, we have three different empires. And doing the research and everything, I just learned so much doing this show that this is why I share this segment with my listeners. So first up, we have the Mali Empire, Mansa Musa. At its peak in the 14th century, Mali was the center of global wealth. Mansa Musa. Let me give it where respect is due. The wealthiest individual in human history famously destabilized the economy of Egypt just by passing through and giving away gold. But his real legacy was his investment. He transformed Mali into a hub of libraries and Islamic universities. I think there's a movie coming out about him soon, too. Second up, we have the Kingdom of Benin, bronze artistry. Located in modern-day Nigeria, this empire was world-renowned for Benin bronzes. These were sophisticated relief plaques and sculptures made of cast pantograph, which is a tracing tool used to copy and scale drawings or maps, and brass. They weren't just art, they were a visual record of the kingdom's history and royal lineage, showing the level of metallurgy or metalling, casting, and mixing metals to make them stronger that Europeans of the time couldn't even believe. So we already had all kinds of technology that others couldn't even understand how. Like we're not smart or something. I'm sorry, that was my own opinion. And last up, we have the Swahili Coast, trade and culture. This was a 1,000-mile stretch of city-states along the East African coast, like Kilwa and Zanzibar. They were the bridge between Africa and the East, trading gold, ivory, spices with China and India. The Swahili language itself is a powerful dial of history, blending African Bantu roots with Arabic influences. All right, now on for a new segment. Over the past couple weeks, on vacation and a hiatus with my book, I was doing a lot of scrolling on social media, unfortunately. But I came across a lot of different things I didn't know about, so I wanted to do a little bit more deeper dive. So this segment is called Down the Rabbit Hole. And this is where we're not just scratching the surface of the news, we're digging deep into stories that are buzzing across the internet, sparking conversations from the block to the boardroom. These aren't just headlines, they're cultural seismic shifts. So first up, one that I saw, I have a list of them. First one I saw was, let's talk about the truly mysteriousness brewing in the city that practically invented mystery, New Orleans. So we're hearing loud whispers, that several ICE agents operating out of New Orleans have reportedly fallen mysteriously ill. Now, the official lines might try to explain it why, but maybe a bad batch of gumbo, weird flu, or just the usual big easy humidity getting to them. But the word on the street, the real street, tells a different story. So local accounts suggest these agents, particularly those involved in recent aggressive enforcement actions in historically Black wards like the 7th Ward, started experiencing sudden and undeniable symptoms. They were saying that they had extreme fatigue. They were calling it brain fog, and a whole host of physical ailments that doctors are reportedly struggling to diagnose. No clear virus, no obvious environmental contaminant, just a group of individuals reportedly involved in actions that disrupted families and communities suddenly finding themselves disrupted. Now, why does that resonate so deeply in New Orleans? Because this city holds an ancient memory. It's a spiritual epicenter. It's a place where the veil between worlds is notoriously thin, a place where spiritual resistance isn't just a concept from the history books, it's a living, breathing force. Think about it. During slavery, when physical resistance was met with brutal force, our ancestors used their spiritual knowledge. They used herbs, quote unquote, fixed items, prayers, and powerful intentions to protect their homes, their families, and their sanity from those who sought to oppress them. It was their ultimate line of defense. So when the community hears about agents involved in actions perceived as harmful, suddenly facing inexplicable ailments, the collective memory kicks in. The street interpretation isn't about biological contingent, it's about spiritual consequences. It's about the idea that sometimes when you come into sacred places with ill intent, the energy of that space and the ancestors who watch over it will push back hard. It's a reminder that the forces at play beyond with what official reports can even ever capture. New Orleans has always been protected. And for many, this is just another chapter in that long, unbroken story. So, the internet moral message: tread lightly where the ancestors walk. The hood moral message: FAFO. So, you want a good laugh for today? Search ICE New Orleans voodoo doll on TT. You'll see what I mean, because that had me rolling till like 3 o'clock in the morning. The comments are hilarious, but you can't just go anywhere and expect to try to do what you want to do to certain people, because people are going to fight back. Our ancestors are our ancestors, but once again, as everyone has heard on the internet and everywhere, we are not our ancestors, and certain ancestors will make themselves known. All right, on to fact or fiction. We are doing a week of government shadows. So first up, I have Project Bluebeam. The story is a grand conspiracy theory claiming that NASA and the UN plan to establish a quote unquote new world order by staging a giant fake alien invasion or simulation of religious second coming. So the claim is using high-tech satellite-based holographic projections in the sky, they would trick the world's population into panic or religious fever to justify a global totalitarian government. So the origin of this, it first was proposed in 1994 by Canadian investigative journalist Sergei Monsat. He claimed that there were 4 stages, including man-made earthquakes, a telepathic electronic two-way communication to make people think they are hearing the voice of a deity. So, fact or fiction? It says this is fiction. There is no documented proof or whistleblower evidence of such project existing within NASA or the UN. So my question is, where did Project Bluebeam come from? Where did we hear this from? If it's no evidence, if it's not true. Anyway, on to the next one. The Montauk Project. It's a series of alleged secret government experiments at Camp Hero in Montauk, Long Island, focused on mind control, time travel, and contact with ETs. So the claim is, the legend says the project developed a Montauk chair that allowed psychics to manifest objects out of thin air and opened a time tunnel that could transfer people into different eras. This is the primary inspiration for the Netflix series Stranger Things. Y'all seen that? Real good series. So the origin was popular in the 1992 book, The Montauk Project: Experiments in Time by Preston Nichols, who claimed to have recovered memories of working there as an engineer. So the historical fact or fiction, it says it's historically based. Camp Hero was a real Air Force base used for coastal defense and radar surveillance during the Cold War. The creepy giant radar dish still stands today. So the primary storytellers are Nicholas Al-Bielek and Duncan Cameron, frequently contradicted each other and provided zero physical evidence of underground levels or time machines. But public access, most of the site is now public, is a public state park. Despite enthusiasts searching for decades, no secret tunnels or hidden tech labs have ever been found. I still say some things have to be based on some truth somewhere. I mean, they don't come up with these things just out of the blue. There has to be some kind of truth based on stuff. All right. And then the last one I have for today in fact or fiction is the Philadelphia experiment. So the story goes, in 1943, a naval experiment where the USS Eldridge was allegedly allegedly made invisible by the naked eye and teleported from Philadelphia to Norfolk, Virginia, and back. So the claims are when the ship reappeared, it was said that the crew suffered horrific side effects, including some sailors being physically fused into the steel hull of the ship. So this story originated and surfaced in 1955 when a man named Carl Allen, writing as Carlos Allende, sent letters to UFO researcher Morris Jessup, claiming he had witnessed the event from a nearby merchant ship. So it says that the fact check is the invisibility truth. During World War II, the Navy did conduct disguising experiments. This process involved wrapping ships in electrical cables to neutralize their magnetic signatures, making them invisible to magnetic minds, not the human eye. So the hoax, Carl Allen later admitted to family members that he fabricated the entire story, having a history of mental health struggles and a vivid imagination. So my question is, why would someone go to the great lengths of putting this story out, sharing and getting all these witnesses to go and retract it? I feel like Arsenio Hall right now. Things that make you say, All right, on to our tech tip of the day. It is the digital legacy setup. So use the legacy contact feature on your smartphone if you have an Android or iPhone. So why? Think about your digital assets. If something happens to you, your family can be locked out of your phone, photos, and memories forever. So how do we turn this on? On an iPhone, go to your settings, your name, password and security, and hit legacy contact. On an Android, search for inactive account manager in your Google settings. It allows a trusted person to access your data only after you have passed on. All right, on to our finance tip of the day, which is the rule of 72. Use the rule of 72 to see how long it takes for your money to double. If you divide 72 by your interest rate, that's how many years it takes for your investment to double. For example, at a 10% return, your money doubles every 7.2 years. So today we focus on compounding interest as a tool for generational wealth. It's not just about how much you save, but how early you can start your clock. Check your interest rate on your savings or your 401k. If it's under 1%, your money isn't growing. It's actually just losing value to inflation. All right, on to our fun fact of the day, biological engineering. Woodpeckers have built-in seatbelts for their brains. Have you ever wondered how a woodpecker doesn't have a massive headache? I always wonder looking at Woody Woodpecker on cartoons. When they peck at a tree, they hit it with a force about 1,000 times of that of gravity. To protect themselves, their tongues actually wrap all the way around the back of their skull and rest between the bone and the brain. This acts as a biological shock absorber, cushioning the brain from every single impact. So I'm going to leave that there. If a bird can literally wrap its own body around its mind to protect its focus, you can definitely protect your peace today. Whew, I got it. Okay. Our fun holiday of the day. It's National Bubble Wrap Appreciation Day. Believe it or not, bubble wrap was originally invented in 1957 to be 3D texture wallpaper. When the idea flopped, the inventors marked it as a greenhouse installation before IBM finally used it to protect their computers during shipping. Today it's all about the satisfying pop that releases the stress. It's officially recognized on the last Monday of January. It's a day to celebrate the unsung hero of the shipping world that keeps our luxe items safety during transit. So if you're feeling a little fragile this Monday, just remember you're wrapped in favor. Go ahead and pop some bubbles and let that stress out. All right, our daily quote. Our quote of the day comes from the iconic man himself, Denzel Washington. And his quote is, and I read, quote, "Don't aspire to make a living, aspire to make a difference," end quote. Denzel reminds us that our true wealth is measured by the impact we leave on others, not just the numbers in your bank account. All right, on to music and entertainment. Today, we have the rise of global African music. As we approach the 2026 award season, the new global African music category is the talk of the industry. This category was specifically created to acknowledge the distinct sounds of high life, bongo flavor, and Fuji, ensuring African genres aren't just leaped into one world music bucket. Also, we have the Bessie Coleman biopic in development. Following her Today in History birthday, news has broke that a major streaming service has a green light on a big budget biopic on Brave Betsy. The film is set to focus on her time in the 1920s in Paris, highlighting the Black elegance that flourished abroad when doors were closed at home. All right, on to celebrity gossip. Montego Bay's newest resident. Word on the street is that R&B's lead man J.A.B, hopefully I'm saying that right, has been spotted during exclusive hilltops touring estates in Montego Bay. This follows a 2026 trend of Black A-listers investing in heritage homes in the Caribbean. Historically, the Caribbean has been a sanctuary for Black artists like James Baldwin and Maya Angelou to find creative peace from the American spotlight. Also, we have high fashion insiders are whispering about a top secret partnership between a legendary Italian fashion house and female rap icon Lotto. If true, this would be a multi-season creative director role, not just a modeling gig. And last up, Angela Bassett was seen on a closed set in Atlanta last week, but not in front of the camera. Rumor has it she was shadowed by 3 young Black women directors from HBCUs. The Each One Teach One model in Hollywood is a direct response to the lack of diversity in high-level production roles over the last 50 years. All right, on to our celebrity birthdays. Today, Kirk Franklin is 56. Anita Baker, songstress herself, is 68. We have WWE ring lady boss Sasha Banks, or Mercedes Fernando, is 34. And we also have a living icon of the movement, Miss Angela Davis, is 82. Global singer, music star Tyrone Ty Tribbett is 50. We also have the lead singer of the group Silk. I remember Silk. Gary Lil G Jenkins is 48. He ain't little no more. And we also have pro basketball player of the Hawks, Vincent Carter, is 49. Happy birthday, everybody. All right, on to our lifestyle segment. Our soul food recipe of the day is smothered chicken. And the drink of the day is honey cinnamon warm tonic. All right, men's health tip of the day is know your resting heart rate, gentlemen. A healthy range is between 60 and 100 beats per minute. Tracking it helps detect early cardiovascular issues. And men, your fashion tip of the day is start the week with a crisp white t-shirt. It pairs with everything and instantly sharpens your look. Women, Our beauty tip of the day is start a morning stretch routine. 5 minutes improves circulation, reduces stiffness, and boosts energy. Ooh, my goodness. I need to do a good 15 minutes instead of 5, then, if that's the case. Our fashion tip of the day is a secured blazer for instant polish. A well-fitted blazer elevates jeans, dresses, and any kind of workwear. All right, our household chore of the day is clean that microwave. Heat a bowl of lemon water for 3 minutes and let the steam loosen up all the grime and stuff in there, and then just wipe it clean. All right, women, our auto mechanics 101 for today is check your tire pressure. Proper PSI improves gas mileage and prevents blowouts. Most cars list their PSI on the driver's side door, like right when you open the door on that little panel at the bottom where you see those little stickers, you'll see your PSI listed right there. All right, in relationships advice for today, couples, set a weekly intention together. Alignment reduces conflicts and builds teamwork. Friendships, send a thinking of you message. Small gestures keeps bonds strong. And family, plan the week's meal together. Save money and reduce stress. All right, in our Before They Were Legends segment, today we spotlight Miss Maya Angelou. Before the world knew her as Dr. Maya Angelou, poet, author, civil rights force, she was Marguerite Johnson, a young girl navigating trauma, silence, and displacement. Born in St. Louis and raised in the segregated South, Maya endured childhood assault that left her mute for nearly 5 years. Built in that silence, she developed a superpower, deep listening. She absorbed language, rhythm, and human behavior with extraordinary sensitivity. She worked as a streetcar conductor at age 15, the first Black woman to do so in San Francisco. She danced in nightclubs, studied languages, lived abroad, and raised her son as a single mother. Nothing about her journey was linear. Nothing was easy. Her breakthrough came when she turned her pain into power with I Know Why the Cave Bird Sings, a book that changed American literature forever. So your beginnings don't define you. They can refine you. All right, last up is our daily horoscope. First up, we have Aries. With Neptune entering your sign today, a 14-year cycle of self-discovery begins. Trust your visions. Your lucky numbers today are 11, 1, and 24. Taurus. Financial ideas from a father figure or mentor could lead to a jackpot moment. Stay open. Lucky numbers for you today are 2, 18, and 29. Gemini. Private wins regarding your property or home life are coming to fruition. Celebrate quietly. Your lucky numbers today are 5, 14, and 23. Cancer. Don't assume your current path is permanent. Be ready to pivot when a friend calls. Your lucky numbers today are 7, 21, and 31. Leo. Recognition for your creative work is looming. Stay organized to handle the spotlight. Your lucky numbers today are 10, 19, and 28. Virgo. A shift in perspective makes a foreign concept suddenly feel like home. Lucky numbers are 4, 13, and 22. Libra. Use your influence to help someone in a practical way. Your kindness is an investment. Your lucky numbers today are 6, 15, and 33. Scorpio. Relations with partners are warm and congenial today. Listen more than you speak. Lucky numbers for you today are 8, 17, and 26. Sagittarius. Cooperation with a group helps you secure that extra budget or equipment you need. Lucky numbers for you today, Sagittarius, is 3, 12, and 21. Capricorn. You are the host of the zodiac right now. Your legacy is being built in small details. Your lucky numbers today are 9, 27, and 45. Aquarius. Freedom is your leading theme. Break a rule that no longer makes you feel break a rule that no longer makes sense for your future. Your lucky numbers today are 11, 22, and 44. Double digits. Pisces, a quiet morning brings a wave of feeling good energy. Retreat to recharge your batteries. Your lucky numbers today are 7, 16, and 25. At this time, I would like to thank our Lux Radio sponsors, Bello Burn Hot Sauce, Bold Taste, Big Kick. Bello Burn keeps the city spicy. Also, RAS Herbals, natural remedies, real results. RAS Herbals keeps the community grounded. And Calorane Candles, soft light, strong energy. Calorane Candles elevates every space. And Universal Madness, style with a statement. Universal Madness keeps the culture fitted. All right, family, that's how we kick off a brand new week with purpose, peace, and a little bit of flavor. So remember to set the tone. Don't let the world set it for you. Walk in your own power today. So until tomorrow morning, it's your girl Mel B saying stay fly, stay grounded in your truth, and don't let nobody tilt your crown. Period.